Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Layover Live.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
Good, I'm living the dream. I'm excited for today's episode. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what we're talking about today?
Yeah. So first of all, if it's your first time here, I'm Kaylee, and this is Jen Ann. We are digital strategists at SimpleView, a Granicus company, and we are talking about something that has been all over everything that we're doing. It's been work-wise, personal-wise, on the news. You hear about it all the time, and that is the World Cup. The 2026 World Cup is going to be the biggest World Cup that there has ever been. They have upped the team count to, I think, 104. I think previously it was like 68. This is the first time that the Cup has been hosted across multiple countries at once. It's going to be in the US, in Canada, and in Mexico. And it's really exciting that we have this amazing opportunity as destinations in the North American continent to welcome international visitors to our countries, maybe for the first time, and to make a real impression on them both before they arrive in market and during their experience here as well.
But before we get into that, I know, since we're talking about travel, I heard you have a lot of exciting travel coming up. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why we're both in this industry and why we love it so much is that we both are travelers. We love to travel. And actually, it was funny, like a week ago, I was like, wow, I don't have any more trips coming up for the rest of the year. Like, that's crazy. I have nothing going on. I just got back from Denver. My best friend got married there. So I was just there in September. So I was kind of like, wow, I get to kind of relax until 2026. Joke's on me. I counted it up today. I'm going to be in 8 different states in the next month. And then I'm also going back to Colorado in December with my family to do a little ski trip. I don't ski, so if anyone has any tips, let me know. I don't want to break my legs. I am going to do a fall New England road trip. I'm going to drive from New York to Connecticut, Connecticut to Boston. My brother, he's in the military. He actually just moved to Boston after being overseas for the last 5 years. So super excited to see him. I haven't seen him in a little bit. So I get to spend some time with him. And then if I have time, might try to get up to Maine for a little bit as well. So that's two new states for me. I've never been to Connecticut or Maine. So very excited about that. And then my other brother lives in Chattanooga. So I think I may go visit him later this month as well, and then potentially visiting some clients in November. So definitely a lot of travel, but I'm very excited.
I'm gonna need pictures of all the changing leaves. In terms of travel on my end, I'm going back to Nashville in October for Halloween. They can't get me out of that city. If you are looking for a honky tonk in Nashville, I recommend Layla's. It's so fun. And then we have some travel lined up to see a few of our clients. So I know I'll be going to Irving as well as Atlantic City at the end of the year. So I'm looking forward to getting some seasonal weather in as well, and we'll keep you guys posted on all of our adventures. But with that, let's talk to Atlanta and talk about some World Cup.
Today we have Kristin Delahunt from Atlanta Convention Visitors Bureau. So Kristin, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Hello, guys. I'm Kristin Delahunt with the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau. I am the Vice President of Destination Services here, going on my 22nd year here at the Bureau. So have had the pleasure of working on some previous large sporting events here in Atlanta with many of our partners, and very excited for next summer to host FIFA World Cup here in Atlanta.
Yeah. FIFA's been a huge conversation. The World Cup has been a huge conversation. I know we're all very excited to invite a ton of new visitors to our destinations. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the process of how your city became a host city?
Well, there's probably no single answer for becoming a host city, but I like to think it's for several reasons that are also attributes of Atlanta that help us get some of that great convention business into the city. And there's a few pillars that we will sell to meeting planners with regards to Atlanta amenities. The first is our amazing venues. Everything from our convention facilities to our special event venues. Second is our hotel package. Just within this walkable downtown convention and event area, we have over 13,000 hotel rooms. And the variety of the hotel package is also unmatched. We have, all shapes and sizes of hotels, all brands, so it's something for everyone. And then, of course, our city's accessibility is one of our top attributes as well. Atlanta is accessible with a 2-hour flight to 80% of the population in the US. So it's incredibly easy and usually pretty budget friendly to fly in and out of Atlanta for events. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is where all 8 matches will take place, and it's a gorgeous facility, top-notch electronics and amenities within. The food and beverage is amazing inside the facility. It's 71,000 seats with a retractable roof. So it's a great spot, for all weather. In the summer, definitely, it will be a cool spot to watch the matches. So we think that was a huge draw as well. Atlanta is home to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. It is the busiest airport in the world. That definitely is a draw for people traveling in. And Atlanta has such a great connection to other cities. We link to 160 US destinations and 85 international cities. So we really want to encourage folks that are traveling in from other countries or even from other places domestically to stay in Atlanta and use this as your home base to fly into all the other host cities for the matches that you're going to go to, because it's going to be easy to get anywhere you need to go from Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And that is such a huge selling point for you, is that it is, like you said, pretty affordable and very easy to get anywhere else once you're there, especially if you're coming in international. And, I've been talking with some other DMOs too, where they're like, well, we're not a host city. We're not really driving distance from a host city, so we're not really Halo, but we do have a lot of direct flights from host cities. And so there is an opportunity for many DMOs to really take advantage of the influx and visitation that we're going to have next year. So that is a great point that you made there too. As far as, you mentioned you guys have had a lot of other big sporting events. I know you hosted the Super Bowl a couple of years back. You have some college football bowls, and I believe you've hosted the national championship at least once or twice, among many other sporting events. So, this has been something that's building up. So what does this moment, now that it's coming up, what does this mean for your community and for your team at the Convention Visitors Bureau?
Well, I mean, it's a chance for Atlanta to be again on the global stage. We're almost comparing this to when we hosted the 1996 Summer Olympics, and it's really exciting for us that next year when we host the FIFA matches, it will be our 30th anniversary of hosting the Summer Olympics in 96. So it really is a chance for us to show the world what Atlanta is about. We're a world-class city. We're a very international city. I think a lot of people still don't recognize that, but it's an incredibly diverse community, and there's so much to do all around the city that it gives us a chance to really show that kind of on a global scale, on a much bigger scale. We're expecting that the matches are going to bring, total, all the matches that we host, that they're going to bring somewhere between 300,000 and 500,000 visitors to the city. So it's really just a unique opportunity for us to showcase all of those great things that we love about the city. We've got so many family-friendly attractions all through town. We've got really cool, unique, historic neighborhoods all through the metro area that all have their own unique flavor. And then we also have dozens of Michelin-recognized restaurants in the city. And so we just want people to come to the city, of course, enjoy the match, enjoy the fan fest, but then get out into our communities and really enjoy all of those things that make Atlanta a really unique culture and a diverse place to be and spend your time.
That's great. I'm excited. I can't wait till we're there next year to try some of the food. I've already been looking. So I'm very excited for that. In terms of, preparation, what does that look like? Because that's always where my mind goes, is how do you even plan for something like this? What do those conversations look like? Tell us a little bit more about that.
It's a long time in planning. I think what is special about our community and preparing for large scale events and an event that's going to have a large draw of international visitors is that because of our history hosting previous large events like NCAA Final Fours, MLB All-Stars game we had this summer as well.
Mhm.
We really are our community of facilities and organizations and City of Atlanta. We have really developed a playbook of sorts where everyone kind of comes together and collaborates on planning and really brings their expertise to the table. So when that next event comes, we already, it's a big city, but it's a small community. So we know who needs to be involved in planning. We know, who the experts are on public safety or community organization or programs that engage the residents or programs that we can spin up specifically for event organizers. And everybody kind of comes together in that playbook and brings their organization's resources to prepare for the larger event. That's, one thing that we're doing. We've already been meeting as a host committee that involves, all of the city resources, the transportation agencies, the public safety agencies, the mayor's office and the city's offices, and the facilities. Of course, we've already been meeting on a regular basis to start making plans. And so it's a very collaborative process of who's doing what do we need to do, who do we go to get things done. So a lot of coordination and really great communication with our host committee and the city offices. There's been a lot of effort for redoing wayfinding in the city, new signage, making sure that when those guests fly in, no matter what language they're speaking, they have obvious resources to help them move around the city and get where they need to go. So of course that, goes back to the wayfinding, but also providing multilingual resources. We also have strong ties to over 70 foreign governments here in Atlanta. We have a lot of consulates that are based in the city. So we are going to be working with them. We already have engaged them with several meetings to talk about how to be prepared, what's coming up. Your country is, sending delegations. What resources, are they going to need? So how can we all, collaborate together to make sure that all of these international visitors feel like they're welcome, they can find the resources that they need. Kind of everybody's kind of bringing their own focus, their own lens, and their expertise in a really great collaborative group setting to make sure that we are preparing for everything that those visitors are going to need.
I'm kind of jumping ahead in our conversation, but I do think it makes sense while we're talking about collaboration. And I know in Atlanta, you have a lot of communities that are nearby, like Sandy Springs and these other, neighborhoods that are right outside. They have their own DMOs as well. How are you working together with some of those to kind of help, one, make sure they're activated, their partners are ready, their hotels have that availability for people to potentially stay at, and how are you working together from a marketing standpoint for the World Cup?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Sandy Springs. We were just in Sandy Springs last week giving a presentation to the Sandy Springs CVB and their partners on those same topics. How to have a watch party, how to prepare your business for the influx, how to maybe, get business out of event organizers coming in. So we have been doing community meetings like that for a while now in concert with our partner area DMOs. We do regular virtual meetings with the entire Metro DMO crew on a regular basis to give them updates on everything that we've learned from FIFA. So what the opportunities are, what the rules are around having a watch party, around using their brand the appropriate way, and any sort of marketing. Really anything that we learn, we are amplifying that out to the communities, to the other DMOs in the area. And we've also been doing that with the business organization. So there's a lot of kind of pocket neighborhood groups and business associations. So we've also been including them in all of our information that we send out and doing presentations to their groups out and about the city. So from marketing standpoint, anything that we're doing marketing wise, we're also offering to anybody outside of just the downtown, midtown, Buckhead, the city of Atlanta area. We're also making sure that whatever opportunities we have, they're aware of those opportunities and can take advantage of those as well. But a couple things that we are collaborating with the mayor's office on, they have started a campaign called Showcase Atlanta. And there are a few different goals of Showcase Atlanta, but one of them specifically that we've been working on with them is they wanted to create a business directory that was kind of twofold. So it allowed local businesses to sign on to the directory and then promote their business or their service to event organizers that were coming in for FIFA, whether that's FIFA themselves or corporate partners or any other groups coming in to produce events. They wanted to be able to connect local businesses to those opportunities. So we are supporting their effort by helping create that directory and manage that directory. We are leveraging SimpleView and the data resource management tool that we have with that to support the backbone of that. We also created a restaurant catalog that Showcase is promoting as well, where anybody who has a space and they want to put it up for an event organizer to do a buyout or do a special event, they can go to that directory and search all of the options there. Again, we're using SimpleView to house all of that information and interface with the marketing platform so that folks can find that tool online. Some other campaigns that we're working on, our marketing team is doing a ton of content generation. As a DMO, it's our responsibility to encourage guests to, come early, stay late, maybe spend some time in between their travel to other host cities for other matches. We are really putting out a ton of content about what you can do in the city and how you can engage with all of our unique attractions and sites in between all of those matches. One of the most recent campaigns that our marketing team created was a video series called United We Roar. And it's all about highlighting Atlanta as a soccer city and also, sprinkling in destination highlights and things that you can do in Atlanta while you're here for the matches.
I do want to touch a little bit on something you said earlier, just in terms of getting the community involved and kind of it takes a village for these things, right? I live in Charleston, South Carolina, so whenever we get, bigger events or, any happenings in the area, it's always great to see people willing to spend their money to travel to a place that I love so much and getting to see it for the first time. But I know that that's not always the case. I know sometimes community sentiment can be a little bit different. But because you guys have, hosted so many big events, it seems like the community sentiment is really positive. Can you talk about how big of a role you guys have played in that, or, anything you can share a little bit around the community sentiment for this big event coming to your destination?
Yeah, that's definitely a priority. I've heard the mayor say more than a couple occasions, we want the World Cup to be something that happens with Atlanta, not to Atlanta. Yeah. There are, in talking about the DMOs, the area DMOs and the Metro CVBs that we're working with, a lot of them are doing very local community events, really mostly for the residents. There's a lot. We're encouraging people to do watch parties in your own communities, in your parks. So we've been helping to distribute information about how you apply for a watch party. Just yesterday, we participated in a webinar that the host committee is doing on a regular basis to provide updates to the community and these local kind of municipalities on how to do watch parties, when the portal will open to apply for that, and then what some of the best practices are. So we're really encouraging kind of those neighborhood pockets and those areas that are really full of the Atlanta residents to do those parties so that the neighbors and everybody living here feels like they can be a part of it, even if they don't have a ticket, to come downtown to the game. We're also going to be promoting Fan Fest. The Fan Fest will be right there in Centennial Olympic Park, which will be kind of in the heart of our convention and entertainment district. So we're going to encourage locals to come down to Fan Fest and engage in the stuff that's happening there. We're doing a big push for volunteers. We would love, as many residents who want to volunteer, please do that. So we've been sending out the volunteer registration site to the communities, again, just to, push that, get engaged, feel involved, definitely making sure that the local businesses feel like they have the ability to promote their business and get some of that economic impact for themselves when the event organizers come to town.
So I know we're kind of talking about all of these visitors are going to be in Atlanta around the same time period, lined up with when your games are. I know you mentioned wanting them to kind of use Atlanta as a home base. But still, once the games are over in July, they're going to likely go back home and, maybe who knows when they'll plan such a big trip again and come back to the US. So how are you balancing all of the short-term hype around the World Cup and around our destinations versus your long-term tourism goals and making sure that you are going to stay top of mind for these visitors long term?
Preparing for events like the World Cup provides a strategic accelerator for us to our long-term vision of getting people to really engage with Atlanta, understand what there is in Atlanta. As soon as we get people here, they want to come back. It's just that, we just need more people to come visit and see all that we have in our communities. And especially just right outside the convention district where all of those neighborhoods are, where you find really kind of unique, only in Atlanta experiences. So, something like the World Cup really is kind of like a momentum to help us get those things done in the city that kind of elevate the perception of Atlanta for those visitors. So it's taking advantage, of that chance to maybe do some street improvements, drive new developments in the city. On the topic of new developments, we have about, I think it's $950 million of new investments and developments that will be ready in time for next summer. A couple major developments that are happening right now all around the convention campus, and much of this will be open by summer and be brand new. There's a development called Centennial Yards right outside of where State Farm Arena and Mercedes-Benz Stadium is. It's a huge mixed-use development that's going to be residential, office, retail, hospitality spaces, restaurants, concert venues. So that's going to be an amazing amenity for visitors to discover right outside the footprint of where the action is. There's a couple marquee facilities that are going to be ready for next year right in that new district. One is the Hotel Phoenix. Beautiful new hotel right outside the stadium with about 15,000 square feet of meeting space. So we expect that to be utilized by an event organizer. We also are getting a COSM, which we're super excited about. That's going to be also in the district and open for next summer, which is an immersive sports and entertainment concept. So those are just a couple of the developments within Centennial Yards, but we also have a huge revitalization project going on at South Downtown, which is just a few blocks away from the stadium. And it's one of our oldest historic areas of the city. So you have beautiful architecture and new tenants that are coming in there. And that's going to be a very kind of local curated experience where people can, browse boutique shops, go get a bite to eat. Some entertainment venues will also be in that South Downtown area. And then the third large development that will be ready for next summer is the center. And the center is the transformation of the former CNN Center that's right there on the campus. And that's being completely transformed into a new dining and entertainment hub for visitors as well, that will have all sorts of different types of dining, high-end and more accessible, interactive venues for people to have events. So we're really trying to, back to your question of balancing kind of the short term and the long term. It's just fortunate for us that while we had these developments kind of already on the radar, having, this goal to work towards to have so much of it open by next summer is really the kind of the short term excitement. But all of this is going to leave such an amazing, lasting legacy for future visitors to come to Atlanta, and it's just going to help our team sell the city even more because there's going to be so much more for folks to do. So we're hoping that people come and have a great time, take advantage of these new developments, and then they really, kind of their eyes are open on what Atlanta has to offer, and hopefully we'll come back and visit or come back for a convention or another event.
Yeah, that's awesome, and also, they have a great time at these new developments and, even the existing things that Atlanta has to offer. They might go home and just tell their friends and family about it, who are then going to inspire them to maybe want to take that trip as well. So that's really great.
That's what we
Well,
hope.
it really goes back to the vitality wheel as well, which is something, we talk about a lot here at Simple View Granicus, but we can do everything in our power for them to, see our campaigns and come to our city. But, it really takes working closely with our cities, our governments, and our communities to be able to foster that experience when they're in market. And, when that happens is when we tell the rest of the story and they spread it word of mouth or they remember the great experience they had. So, I keep saying it on this, but it really does take a village. So I love hearing about how everyone works together to make this big vision come to life and support the destination, for years to come. With that, I know you guys have hosted a ton of events and you kind of referenced a playbook a little bit earlier. What advice would you give to other host cities or Halo cities that are preparing at the moment for, the World Cup or maybe events in similar size and in the future?
I would probably say most cities, whether you think you have a playbook or not, you probably do. Like I think that most organizations that host events of any size, they've got the connections and the partnerships with the whole kind of wheel of players, that would touch an event, or that would touch a visitor coming to the city. And I would say lean into what you do best and just elevate that in your group, your sphere of influence for that event. And just have people serving in those roles that can bring those talents and bring the resources to not create the wheel. We've got limited time to pull off a lot of great campaigns and activations and programs and planning for the crowds. I would say to really, look at all of the players in your community and put those people in their wheelhouse, of what they do best, and then create your own kind of playbook from that. And don't spend time recreating the wheel or creating something or a resource that already exists that somebody is already using that could be repurposed for this. So being aware of all the resources you have in the city to produce something like that and bringing all those people to the table together so that you eliminate any duplicate resources or waste of resources, trying to create something that you don't need to create because it might already be there. It's just putting that organization in that position to execute that element, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're all strapped on time and resources, so definitely kind of recycling and repurposing is a great. I just have one more question, and how are you defining success of this event? And I know that's a really broad question because there's a lot of things that we're doing, right? You're doing marketing beforehand, you have your web presence and your digital presence, and then we also are considering people coming into market. But maybe pick like 3 things that you're really going to be looking for to define success of this World Cup event for Atlanta.
I would say number one would be safety. Hosting hundreds of thousands of visitors over a month time in our city and in all of the locations that they will travel to and around in our city. If we can get them here and keep them safe and just keep, the basics of, are they able to get in and around the city using our public transportation, which we're definitely going to be pushing using MARTA to get everywhere. Yeah. And if they have a safe experience, that number one is a success in our minds. Second to that is we want everybody to have just a fabulous time. How do you I don't know, rate that? I think probably our engagement scores on all of the content and the website sources that we're creating right now. I think that might be a good indicator, how much that engagement is on everything that we're creating. Because everything that we're creating is going back to promoting what to do, where to dine, how to spend your free time. So that will be a metric that we'll be looking at. And then I think hotel occupancy, as it always is. and the hotel rates will be another indicator. Were we successful in getting people to come here and stay a little bit longer than they needed to just for the match? Could we flatten out those peaks and valleys and get people to spend a little more time in our city and travel around to the metro areas? So length of hotel stay and hotel occupancy will be another factor. I think that in hindsight, we'll know if what we did on the marketing side was successful.
Before we get into our last segment, I do want to ask you if you have anything that you want to plug, any resources you want to talk about, or you want people to check out if they're planning to come to Atlanta for the World Cup.
Definitely check out our website on discoveratlanta.com. We have a separate page that's strictly dedicated to FIFA. We have a call to action out to anybody that is organizing an event around the matches next summer. And it really could be any event at all. I mean, we have a lot of cultural partners that are going to be doing very cool art events surrounding soccer in Atlanta and soccer in the U.S. So, it's not going to just be watch parties or just be, things having to do with the matches, but all sorts of cultural experiences that you can have in Atlanta with that, little spin on it to celebrate FIFA being here. So I would definitely just funnel people to our website. We're going to be populating it daily with campaigns and fun things to do and all of those events that are going to be organized throughout the city. There's going to be no shortage of things to do. It's going to be a very exciting time.
If you're listening and you don't know, SimpleView Summit 2026 will be hosted in Atlanta as well. So if you maybe can't make a World Cup game, you can still have an opportunity to come visit their destination and see what a great city it is. I have been there plenty of times. It's very close to where I live. I'm in Florida. So it's great. I always have a great time in Atlanta. The aquarium is amazing. My daughter loves it every time I get to take her there. So highly recommend spending some extra time in Atlanta if you're planning to come to Summit or to the World Cup.
Well, speaking of all the awesome things to do, see, and most importantly, eat in Atlanta, we do have a fun little game to wrap us up. Kaylee, I will pass it to you to introduce our little game.
Yeah. So for all of our guests that we have on our podcast, we have a little destination potluck that we are quote unquote hosting, where all of our guests have to bring a dish from their destination that you think encapsulates the vibes of your area. So if you are coming to our potluck, what are you bringing to represent Atlanta?
I'm going to say shrimp and grits and fried green tomatoes.
Yeah,
my favorite.
And maybe like a little chicken and waffle, like dessert, like a little fried chicken wrapped in a sweet waffle with some drizzle of syrup on there.
Perfect.
I was expecting a varsity hot dog, but that I will accept.
Okay, yes, also a slaw dog. There's too many. I can't pick one.
I know, it's hard.
I'll take care of the entire potluck. I'll bring all the food.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Catered by Atlanta.
Well, we've got Calabash already from North Myrtle Beach, so I think the shrimp and grits is going to balance perfectly. I love fried green tomatoes, so there might not be any left for anyone else because I will eat them all. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. This was such a great conversation, and I know we're so excited to keep up with everything you guys are doing. Kaylee, is there anything else for us today?
I don't think so. I think this was really great insight, and I hope our listeners get a lot out of it as we are all preparing for what we can do to cater to all of the new travelers and visitors that will be in the US and Canada and Mexico as well. If we have any of y'all folks listening today, there are so many things that we can be doing to engage these travelers, both local, national, and international. So thank you so much, Kristin, for sharing what you're all doing over there in Atlanta. Hope you all really enjoyed Kristin's message and learned some things about how to engage your communities, how to plan for large events, whether you're going to be participating in the World Cup or other future large-scale events that might come into your markets.
Big events like this really fascinate me because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. So every time I learn a new piece of information, I'm just, my mind's blown.
I know there's so much that goes into it. Everyone at a DMO is a rock star, as we know. So, but we hope you all join us again next time. And if you could subscribe, share the podcast, feel free to email or comment on any of our social media links. We would love to hear from you.